Since the inauguration, Joe Biden has been facing a crisis, and it has been getting worse every day, and we have to give credit to Fox News for acknowledging it. That crisis, him not having a press conference, and at one point it got so bad, as Aaron Rupar pointed out, he'd gone 49 days without a press conference, and they will not stand for that. That's why they were on the press office under Trump for going months and months and months and months without actually talking to reporters. They were very mad about that. Now, of course, Biden had a press conference, but what he didn't realize that was in having a press conference, he was turning one crisis into another. Because before, he hadn't had any press conferences. Now, he's only had one. 37 executive orders, they say, but just one news conference. Again, Aaron Rupar pointing that out. So, I mean, I think I know what the crisis will be after he has his second. I think I could do the math on that. But anyway, look, he had his press conference. And what's gonna be interesting about this is that the criticism coming at Joe Biden is not particularly unified. Normally, Fox News is very good at staying on message, but depending on who you listen to on Fox, one of two things actually happened. Either Joe Biden was so barely able to keep it together that it's a wonder he didn't stroke out behind the podium, or it was such a magnificent performance that clearly it had to have been scripted. Either he was just reading off of something, or as some are saying, the media themselves were in on the script. But anyway, we're gonna have examples of both of those different kinds of criticism. Let's start though with Sean Hannity.
Serious questions, okay. Is Vice President Harris now in charge? Is she running the country? Is she gonna do the press briefing tomorrow? Because once again, Joe Biden seemed lost, dazed, and confused. Take it back at any, true or false? Did Donald Trump ever prepare for press conferences like this? Did he even prepare at all?
I love that precedent. All future presidents must be as lazy and unprepared as the dumbest one we've ever had. But anyway, yeah, so he couldn't get through it. So much so that Sean Hannity's ready to just move on. It's now the Harris presidency. / he also prepared too much for it. I don't know how you're supposed to respond to that. I think you're not really supposed to be able to.
Can I clarify one thing? And again, the Republicans, and they keep saying, oh, no press conferences for 49 days. But it's pretty funny, and 2 points. It's pretty funny to hear them say, oh, and by the way, Fox News has been shut out, frozen out from the White House when there's the reporter reporting from the North Lawn. The second point about it is Peter Doocy, their main reporter, he has asked Joe Biden questions. I mean, the idea that, okay, one formal news conference, that is somehow so different from Joe Biden going into the briefing room about something else and taking questions or being asked questions when he's on his way to the helicopter. I mean, they have access to the president. The reporters at the White House have access to Biden every week. The idea that, oh, well, but formal press conferences are different. No, they're not. The reporters continue to be able to ask questions of the commander in chief. This idea that it only counts if it's a formal White House press conference, that's a bunch of insanity. And again, Fox News, and we've seen the clips of Peter Doocy and Joe Biden pairing each other and Biden making some funny remarks back to Doocy. He gets his opportunity to ask questions. And so anybody at Fox News who says, oh no, Joe Biden is hiding from the press, they are flat out lying. And they're flat out, again, being shameful and shameless about the extent to which they lie.
Okay, just cherry on top of that irony was today, Doocy asked Jen Psaki, White House spokesperson, are we getting frozen out? You're asking the White House spokesperson a question. The irony is loaded into that question. Okay, so apparently not is the correct answer. So by the way, try being a progressive. Even in a Democratic administration, then you'll see what frozen out looks like.
How many questions did our reporter get today?
How many questions about the minimum wage? Oh, there was a question about whether Biden's gonna run in 2024, but not a single question about his 2020 campaign promise to raise the minimum wage. I mean, yeah, to your point, it's the progressives who are certainly shut out or not getting access or don't have the opportunity. But anyway, I don't interrupt.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. God forbid anybody should ask about actual policy, goals that Biden said he had. I mean, shouldn't the $15 minimum wage be the first question asked in a sense? You said you were for $15 minimum wage. You actively killed $15 minimum wage. I mean, if you're Fox News, wouldn't you want to catch him on that hypocrisy? No, because you also work for corporations and you don't want people to have higher wages. You want them to have lower wages. So you want to do stupid antics like, as I'm being called on for this question, I'd like to ask if we're not being called on for questions. Okay. And then John's right about it's no winning with Hannity, right? He won't do a press conference. He's too prepared for the press conferences. But it doesn't matter because the Fox News audience isn't there for the intelligent commentary. Yeah. If they want an intelligent commentary, as Tyrion would say, they've come to the wrong place.
Yeah, and look,
yeah.
Regardless of which of these, often either contradictory narratives or even self-contradictory narratives, all of it is resting on a bedrock of every one of these hosts knows that their audience didn't watch it.
Yeah.
So the only information they're going to have about it is whatever they are told by those hosts. Nobody saw it that's watching that, so they don't know. Yeah, they criticized him for having too many notes. Like how many press conferences were just Kayleigh McEnany flip to read her little like line? They said Ari Fleischer was on Fox and said no president has ever had notes for a press conference before. Trump would just have pieces of paper with big Sharpie letters written on it of the things he's supposed to say. It's just like, I guess we sort of, I guess we engage with this because we believe that press conferences do matter, that criticism of the president is important. They're doing this, it's not satire. I don't even know what this is. It has all of the sort of, to go back to TDR, the pomp and circumstance of criticism of the president, but without any substance. Like they want their guy to have a question, but not to ask about anything important. Not even like David was just criticizing Biden for breaking campaign promises. They would never make that criticism because they don't want the minimum wage to go up any more than many centrist Democrats do. The whole thing is just such a ridiculous waste of time.
It's also, I mean, to me, it's surprising how fragile Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson and Fox News have become. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense for them to try to be strong and tough and pick their battles? But when you whine, when you're like that 4-year-old who's like, oh, I can't get my ice cream today. I mean, it's annoying, and it's no wonder to me that Fox News is doing so badly compared to the other cable channels, because I think also their audience is sick of the whining and they want them to fight on legitimate stuff. This is not legitimate, and again, it's just. It's annoying, it's frustrating, the idea that, and it's I think a part of the downfall of Fox News, which is a whole other point. But again, to your point, John, I mean, White Houses prepare, and Cenk as well, White Houses prepare briefing books and notes for presidential speeches, for presidential meetings, for presidential news conferences. Certainly Ari Fleischer had his presidential briefing books for his news conferences. So this is a pretty thin reed that the Republicans are grasping.
Yeah, Chris Wallace, also on Fox News, said something to the effect of like he's never seen a president have talking points like that for a press conference. Come on, Chris, you're better than that. That's a ridiculous thing to say. They've used prompters before. What the hell do you think a prompter is? They put a script in a prompter. It's not just a talking point, it's the whole conversation. So no, these guys pretending like, and just look, and to John's point, remember Sarah Palin? She wrote the words on her hand. You want to talk about talking points? And we saw the pictures of Trump's paper with like big words like freedom, me good, others bad. Those are also talking points. And it's so sad that they had to write those out. Anyway, last thing is, that celebration of laziness at the end was astounding to me. You remember when the Republican Party, and I remember this because I used to be a liberal Republican back in the 1980s and 90s. So they, at the time, they were pretending, and I realized later that they were pretending about everything. Everything was a lie, right? But they were pretending that they cared about the work ethic and you can get ahead by working hard and meritocracy and all that stuff. Now they're like, nobody wants to prepare. Biden, nerd, smart. You don't want to be smart. You want to be a dummy. Remember Trump? Hey, Kayleigh, he never prepared for anything, right? That's the kind of president you want. But in that moment, as I was astounded by their like celebration of stupidity and lack of hard work, I realized, oh my God, what am I talking about? Right wingers in this country were built on laziness. They didn't want to do their own work so much that they brought in slaves to do their work for them. They've always been the laziest people in the country. Right wingers are bums who don't want to work. So they're always trying to find somebody else to do their work. That's just a historical fact in America.
And the anti-intellectualism is, I think, a piece of this, right? Because you want to poo-poo on people who actually have thoughts and original ideas and debate policy and get into things. But if your whole point is, well, no, we want to appeal to the dumb masses and say, you know what, it's okay to be stupid because look at us, we're not preparing. Look at Donald Trump, he didn't prepare. It's okay for you not to take school seriously, not to learn, not to believe in science, because people who do are intellectuals, and we hate intellectuals. And that's yet another step on the road towards fascism.